Good morning, welcome to our live talk program. This is Lloyd. I'm here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering natural health on this your Wednesday morning Rise and Shine. And this morning here I have this topic: if proven drugs are problematic, why trust unproven? So if proven drugs are problematic, why trust unproven? So this is our talk for this morning here as we look at natural health and encourage you to do more natural. And let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, I thank you again for the blessings of your word. Thank you for the blessings, dear Lord, of knowing thee. Pray, Lord, that you may bless us and guide us as we seek, dear Father, natural remedies for any of our ills that we encounter. We know that you've created all things and you put so many beautiful things in nature to deal with the effects of sin. May you bless us, we pray, towards this end. For Christ's sake, amen. So I'm looking here at this topic. If proven drugs are problematic, why trust unproven? So I have three articles to share with you. Two of about all of them about drugs, and there is some recall going on right now with some high blood pressure medication, and they've been recalling them I think since summer, and the third one just got recalled recently, and the chemicals, the drug itself has been contaminated with chemical, and they're linked to cancer. So these drugs are linked to cancer. They're cancer causing, or the chemical, and the chemical that's in the drug itself, and the chemical is NDM or NDM, something along that line. So this drug here, these drugs are being contaminated, and the chemical that's contaminated is a very volatile, highly cancer-causing chemical that will cause liver damage. And some people have been taking the drug for 4 to 20 years. Various different matrix have claimed that they now have cancer, and some people believe it could be caused by the drug itself. So anyhow, I wanted to share some of that with you here, right? And how NDMA, what it is and how it's dangerous. So it's important to think now that if these are the proven drugs that you deal with, and often what it is with these contaminants is that when drugs are being processed, it's a chemical reaction. You get in a few different chemical, you mix something and cook something, and then the end product is this, and then use something else to remove some of the more dangerous ingredient. But in the manufacturing process, you could have contaminants still remain that is not the pure drugs and not properly removed, and some of these things are very volatile. So anyhow, these are manufacturing companies that are trying to operate at very strict levels that the FDA put upon them, and they're having problems dealing with it. So just imagine a regular person out there who is a drug addict, and they're taking drugs, but the drugs they're taking is being cooked by a backyard scientist, or is being cooked by a major company or some real scientists, but they're doing nefarious work, and they're working without any proper inspection or guidelines, and how they would run around and cut corners. So just imagine a person snorting up something up their nose, shooting something in their vein, taking something orally, and this is something that is not FDA inspected. There's no seal of quality. There's no back end inspection. Imagine what people are taking in their bodies. If the legal drugs is so problematic, imagine trusting unproven drugs that, as I say, it could be somebody in the backyard with some sticks and pots stirring up various different chemicals and cooking them and doing 3-4 process until they get a drug that could cause one to be come with cancer, die with cancer. And you can see, go online and watch videos and see how people literally will rig it in their backyard and sell it by the ton load. and using various different chemicals to process whatever leaf and to break down and separate the active ingredients. It's fascinating thing to watch. If you ever did anything like chemistry and stuff, is intriguing. But on the other hand, you're thinking there is no regulation, and if things that are regulated, whether it be the meat industry, the dairy industry, the manufacturer car industry, all these things that are regulated can kill so many people. Imagine the things that are unregulated, how the harm and damage and weirdness that people are bringing upon themselves. So this is what I want to explore and kind of give you the heads up there. So I want to go to my first article, but before I go there, I just want to share this text. Notice in Proverbs 1 verse 20, Proverbs 20 verse 1, it says, wine is a mocker and strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. So a person who uses alcohol is silly. And that's just reality, because it changes the the chemistry of the brain, the mood. It changes the whole body. And it causes a person to be a mockery and to rage. A person not using it to be a mockery, but that's the result. And so the person is deceived and thereby is not wise. It's just being foolish. And that's wine. That's something that the process through fermentation. You spoil the thing and make it become spoiled and rancid, and then you drink it. And you say that's foolish. But then you take on to the fact now that a person is now taking some various different dangerous chemicals to make a end product and then partake of it. You say that's a very foolish act. And that's the reality. It's a very foolish act. So, and now, as I'm saying, it's one thing where we're dealing with proven drugs that have been clinically tested, and it's approved to go to the market and sell as a pharmaceutical agent. And those have been proven over and over again to be so dangerous, especially for long-term use. And then you talk about now people trusting unproven drugs where you don't know the source of it, you don't know who approved it, who is manufacturing it, you don't know how sick these individuals are. Because many people, when they sell to druggies, they will say, oh, this druggies, let them die. And what disease is going to come down, because again, a regular FDA drug, at least you have a list of the side effect and the disease you will get from the drug. So you know upfront, you're taking this drug and these are the disease you're going to get. It's going to create disease in your body. That's what you take drugs for, to fix one disease and create 10 more disease. But when you're taking now unproven drug, a drug on the street, it's not tested. You don't know what the manufacturer did, what proper process they followed, what proper reported methods they did to report back what was the effect. They're not clinically testing the subjects to find out what kind of disease they're going to get. But if you're taking drugs, you're going to get diseases. The drug in itself creates disease in your body. You're taking the drug to solve one disease and to create a second disease. All drugs do that. And that's just the thing. You just have to know. It's just, at least when you're taking a pharmaceutical drug that is FDA approved, at least you know what disease you're going to get up front. With these street drugs, you don't know what disease you're going to get. They don't tell you the list of disease. They don't tell you if you're going to be walking one day down the road and your head just drop off your neck. Just your head just roll right over the top of your neck and just roll down the street. You don't know if that's going to be the side effect. And that could be it. So again, why are we taking these drugs? But people will take these drugs, and I'm thinking, if you can't trust the regular FDA stuff, imagine trusting the stuff that is from somebody's backyard. So here first, I'm going to read this one here about CBD. You've heard about it. I'm going to take a few things from this article. It's over there, Mother Jones, written by Jackie Mogensen, and it's entitled, Sorry, Hipsters, CBD Will Not Solve All Your Problem. The wellness world has long been inundated with health trends, raw water, quote unquote raw water, probiotics, juicing, you name it. But cannabidiol, or CBD, a marijuana derived chemical, has taken things to a new height. Retailers market it as a miracle molecule, claiming it can treat ailments including nausea, anxiety, cancer, cancer, arthritis, and even Alzheimer's disease. It's commonly sold as an oil and added to products like candies, teas, lotions. You can find it in health food stores, in pet depots, or even on Amazon. Some celebrities has become CBD believers. UFC fighter Nate Diaz once said it will make your life a better place. While Gwyneth Paltrow's wellness blog Goop recommend a CBD spiked mint julep for kicking relaxation mode into overdrive. So you can be overly into relaxation mode. I would say at that point you just go to sleep. Anyhow, experts estimate that CBD market is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's projected to surpass 1 billion by 2020. But what do science and the law really say about this new miracle molecule? And it's gonna go. So let me just some fact here. It's totally legal. It's a false idea. CBD is illegal under the federal 1970 Controlled Substance Act. So it's illegal, and it is a different compound from what is normally a compound cell from marijuana, which is THC. And also, many people claim that it treat a larger list of physical and psychological ailment. Plenty of animal studies suggest that CBD can help alleviate anxiety and encourage relaxation, but so far there's limited evidence showing that it has that effect or any other. For that matter, in humans, to date, the only CBD medication approved by the Food and Drug Administration for medical uses is a drug called Epidiolex, which was developed by a British company to treat two rare forms of epilepsy. Other drugs may be on the way. A medication called Arvisol, developed by a company in the Netherlands, is intended to treat neurological and psychiatry disorder, including schizophrenia, and is undergoing early clinical trials. In the United States, Zynerba Pharmaceuticals is developing a CBD gel to treat symptoms of a genetic condition called Fragile X syndrome, which can include anxiety, mood swings, cognitive impairment. So I guess a person is fragile. And limited evidence indicate that CBD may help with opiate, cocaine, tobacco addiction. Considering more research is required, this is not 100%. So if you look there, I'm just going to skip down a little bit in the article. Now, it is available on the internet for cheap. True, but be very careful. While most states permit CBD sale, requires products sold in brick and mortar stores to undergo testing, the online CBD market is almost entirely unregulated. In 2017, the FDA tested dozens of products from 4 major online CBD retailers who were based in Florida, Colorado, and California. Many products did not contain levels of CBD that retailers advertised, and some made unfounded claims like, quote, CBD makes cancer cell commit suicide without killing other cells. The FDA sent warning letters to all 4 companies requiring them to correct the information. These deceptive marketing techniques may even prevent some patients from getting the medical care they need, agency wrote. I pause there and say, I'm assuming that the person look online and they see, wow, my cancer cell is going to commit suicide and my regular cells are going to be great, and they go no further in any of the treatment. Haney and her colleague agree CBD shows promise, and more research and regulation will help weed out bogus products. In the meantime, it's still best to proceed with caution. What you purchase online might not even contain CBD. There's no regulation, so buyer beware. And it says, you don't know what you're really getting, end of quote. So with that in mind, before I go, because I'm going to go on to the high blood pressure medication that is being recalled. If you look at it, this is something that is not being properly clinically tested. This is a drug literally from a plant, which is marijuana, that it is supposed to help a person calm down, but also is connected with schizophrenia and other mental mind altering effects. So this is something now that again is an extract of the plant, and it's been developed to use as various different type of drugs. But with all drugs, as I say, there are side effects, but these are not tested. So you're taking a drug to solve a problem, but the drug in itself creates other problems in the body. It creates other diseases. But because one don't know what they are, because they're not being clinically tested and proven to show what the result, you will have a result, but you don't know what the result gonna be. And you could be part of the grand experiment, which is going on right now inside of the United States, to see what weirdness is going to be coming upon the citizens as they use more marijuana and marijuana derived drugs. So fascinating is what's going on. So now to kind of cement the argument, I'll move on now to the two articles now about NDEA, or they call it here NDMA. So first article here, this is from USA Today, written by Ashley May, and it's entitled FDA recall another blood pressure drug for possible cancer risk. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced a third blood pressure medication recall over concerns the contaminated drug might cause cancer. Sandoz Inc. is voluntarily recalling losartan, potassium hydrochloride something tablet, because the pill could contain an impure NDEA. The substance is probably human carcinogen, according to the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Losartan affected by the recall are 100 milligram and 25 milligram tablets with a lot number that is a JB8912. The contaminated medication was not distributed before October 8. Patients who are currently taking this medication are advised to speak with their doctor before stopping use, because the risk of going off the medication might be greater than the possible cancer risk, according to the November 8 recall notice. And a patient can call Sandoz Inc., which is the pharmaceutical company, at 800-525-8747 to get more information. Recently, FDA issued a recall for blood pressure medication irbesartan, also because of the NDEA contamination concerns. Over the summer, blood pressure drug valsartan was similarly recalled. All right, that's just that bulletin note for those who are on high blood pressure medication. Next article here on the same topic. I remember my topic is, if proven drugs are problematic, why trust unproven? So like how many people are going into CBD, but CBD is unproven and we don't know the side effects because there's not enough clinical trials. And the reason why there's not enough clinical trials because it's a Schedule 1 drug, like heroin and other drugs like that. So I have a problem. Before I read this next article here, I have a problem. And my problem is I have a headache. Somebody say, hey Lloyd, you could take this gel and rub it right in your forehead and the headache will go away. And I'm in so much pain. I'm like, great. But I never stop to say, hey, what is this gel? And what are the actual side effects? What are the other diseases going to cause me? And the person say, well, we don't know. And I rub it on my head and my headache go away, but my brain blow up. or my head explode. And this is what's happening with these drugs. And this will happen with the legal stuff. How much more the stuff that is not proven, we don't know. And so there's people like, oh yeah, give me that drugs because they'll fix my problem. And the person say, I took it and it helped the problem. And I'm like, sure, all drugs do that. They will help the problem. But what are the problem they're creating? We don't know. Continue reading. FDA expand recall of heart drug for possible cancer causing contamination. Right, so I'll pause here and say, with this article, that this is an August article. Remember, this is the third recall. This recall just happened, the current recall just happened last week, right? So this now is the third. This is the first, I think, recall. So this was an article covering the first recall. All right, a popular drug used to treat high blood pressure has been recalled because some products may contain a cancer-causing chemical. In an ongoing investigation, the Food and Drug Administration has expanded the SWOT of recall of the drug valsartan, which is used to treat blood pressure, high blood pressure, and heart failure. The recalled drugs manufactured by Zhejiang Yuhai Pharmaceutical in Linghai, China, contain a chemical NDMA, which has been found to cause cancer in humans based on laboratory studies agency says. Last month, the FDA issues a voluntary recall for some valsartan tablets and has since expanded it twice to include additional products from more drug companies as well as some tablets with valsartan and HCTZ. The recall has spread globally, with Health Canada and European Medicine Agency have also recalled drugs using valsartan provided by Zhejiang Yuhai pharmaceutical company. The valsartan tablets dosage 40 mg to 320 mgs. The Food and Drug Administration has recalled, including products from the following companies, and they list the companies, quite a few different companies. Recall of valsartan with various different dosage again, and then they list a whole another host of companies. And continue. Not all valsartan products contain MDMA, the agencies say, and the FDA has a list of drugs with NDMA and those not affected on its website. So a pause there. Remember, they list the various different drugs, and what you will notice that they keep expanding the recall. So imagine a month before, in I think July, they did an initial recall. I think that's what it was, and then they said, well, you can't take these. These are still good. And then more testing. Oh no, don't take these, but you can still take these. Then they do more again. So now we're in November and we're still doing recalls because they find out it's bigger than they thought. Right? Keep that in mind. Consumers taking any medication with valsartan can compare their prescription bottle to the FDA list to determine if their drug has been recalled. Patients can also contact their pharmacist, who may be able to provide valsartan from a drug maker not involved in the recall. Patients taking these medications should continue taking them until their doctor or pharmacist has replacement drug or treatment. The Environmental Protection Agency considers NDMA a carcinogen that can cause liver damage in humans. The FDA scientists estimate that one additional case of cancer would develop over the lifetime of 8,000 patients had they all taken highest valsartan dosage of 320 mg from the recall batch daily for 4 years. The length of time some levels of chemical impurities may have been added, so they're believing it's the last 4 years that this has been going on. All right, so here's some background before I get into some Bible passages and talk with you here. So if you remember a few months ago, I don't know if you remember, but if you've seen this information online, that more and more of the drugs that is manufactured for America and the world is being manufactured in China. and they've been having ongoing problem, as I've covered here, with quality control and with proper manufacturing processes of drugs being manufactured in China. This is not the first time this has happened, and so this is something that's an ongoing problem because the processes that they use there and the requirement is problematic, and so the FDA have been more and more sending inspectors over there to kind of oversee the process, because more and more, as I say, not just manufacturing of goods, the television you use and the various different products you use, products are manufactured there, but more and more chemicals and more food or so forth is being manufactured there, and they've been constantly having problem with contamination in food or contamination in medicine. So here now is a recall, and it's coming from, again, just to illustrate the point, is coming from China, and the products that are coming through are being contaminated with NDMA, which is also, I think, used as a stabilizer for fuel. So this product here is a carcinogen, and it's either being used in the manufacturing and not being properly extracted out, or it's difficult to remove it after it's been after it's been part of the chemical process. And if I think my memory serves me right, I think it's more along that line, that when it is used, some of the processes was to be used to extract it. I think by, and I'm gonna read it a second here because I think it's by heat or something, and it's not being properly extracted out. So this contamination is getting into the tablets, and as they say, it's as low as 25 mg and as high as 320 mgs. Now, if you think about 320 mgs, that's like most of the tablet. The rest of the tablets just have a smaller doses of dicalcium. And if it was a capsule, it would be like almost 80% of the capsule, a regular normal size capsule. So that's a lot of chemical, period. So a person taking that type of dosage has to be very clogged up, or their heart has to be very weak. And that's just tell you, that's why I believe in trying some natural and lose some weight and start slowly, even 5 minutes a day exercise. Anyhow, so if you look at this, right, you can see this is a Chinese manufacturing company manufacturing this product and having consistently for months now this problem with this chemical, and this chemical is being proven to be in the tablets for 4 years. So for 4 years, person taking this tablet, the list, say for instance the side effect list for valsartan would be one list, but then imagine now the side effect list for this NDMA, which I'm going to read in a second here so you can get the picture clearly. So just imagine the valsartan itself, and then you imagine the extra side effects that comes from this thing. So anyhow, so I'll get to that in a second. So I wanted to point it out here that, again, if you look at it, this is now the proven drugs with the known side effect, and then you have a contaminant that is proven to be cancer causing, and you add this risk in, and you go to a person, you say, do what you have to do, but in the meantime, do whatever the doctors tell you to do per se, because you're in an emergency, you have your heart is about to fail, whatever. But in the meantime, it's you're probably, if you're not on the floor and grabbing your heart, it's probably good for you to go seek some natural remedies, to go seek some other methods that can help you with your heart problem without sending you to this source, because this source is a proven source and it's safe. Now, worse yet, imagine somebody come to the person and say, I'm going to give you this drug and it's unproven, untested. You don't know what's going to happen. Here you go, take it. And the person take it. And this is my problem with things like CBD, because we have something that's not clinically proven. And if the clinically proven stuff is giving so much problem, how much more is the stuff that is not unproven. So let me read it real quickly here for you. This ND NDMA, right? Which I'm gonna try to even say it, the full name, but is a semi-volatile organic chemical produced as a byproduct of several industrial processes and present at very low levels in certain foodstuff, especially those cooked, smoked, and cured. So it's a semi-volatile, and it is in industrial processes. But it's important to note that this NDMA chemical is also produced when you smoke, and especially when you smoke and cure stuff. That means when you barbecuing or when you have a smokehouse, all that smoke chemical getting into the product and burning it and singeing the meat, that singed black meat, is actually a cancer causing. This is why over the years, you know that barbecuing and, you know, they normally call it jerking or baking it in smoke, is one of the most cancer causing ways of eating meat. It's a guaranteed way to kill yourself. So just slowly at least. So those cooked, smoked, and cured, NDMA is water soluble and is yellow in color and is toxic to the liver and other organs, and is probably human carcinogen, right? And just a quick note on the toxicology. It's especially toxic to the liver and is known carcinogen in lab animals. The EPA classified MDA as probably human carcinogen, and the Environmental Protection Agency has determined that the maximum admissible concentration of MDMA in drinking water is 7 nanograms, and some real low numbers. At high dosage, it is a potent hepatotoxin that can cause fibrosis of the liver in rats, and indications it can cause liver tumor. Just kind of scan through the information really quickly here, and I want to get down to drinking water. So NDMA's contamination of drinking water is of particular concern due to the minute concentration at which it is harmful, the difficulty in detecting it at these concentration, and to the difficulty in removing it from drinking water. It does not readily biodegrade, absorb, or volatilize. As such, it cannot be removed by activated carbon. So activated carbon, which is like charcoal, filters can't remove it, and travel easily through soil. Relatively high levels of UV radiation in the 200 to 260 nanometers range break down NN bonds and can thus be used to degrade NDMA. Additionally, reverse osmosis is able to remove approximately 50% of NDMA. So unless you have like a light, UV light treatment on your water, you can't break it down, or unless you're probably using reverse osmosis, then you can get rid of 50% of it when it's in water, which is fascinating. So it flows right through charcoal, and it is only UV and reverse osmosis that can help it or remove it. So we're talking about something that's highly volatile, and then they go into the history that is being used often to poison people because it's so hazardous at low dosage. So that's NDMA. So just a quick note here on the heart, the valsartan, the drug itself. So the clinical trials of valsartan treatment for hypertension versus placebo demonstrated side effects like viral infection, fatigue, abdominal pain. Minor side effects occur with less than 1%, but were similar to the rates from the placebo, included headache, dizziness, upper respiratory infection, coughs, diarrhea, rhinitis and sinusitis, nausea, pharyngitis, edema, and arthralgia. So these are the effects. So say you're taking this drug, valsartan, you're gonna have lung problem, sinus problem, any type of respiratory coughing, diarrhea, any type of problem to do with digestion and your respiratory system. It's gonna affect, right? And because it's blood pressure, adjusting that blood pressure could cause headache and dizziness. So that's the known effect of a drug that is the clinically tested, they know the effect. Now imagine somebody now taking things that they don't know the effect. Worse, they're taking what we call illegal drug. They don't know who is manufacturing the illegal drugs. You don't know who is over it, at least here with illegal drugs and with the known side effects like dizziness, where you could have at least 17% of the people taking valsartan will have dizziness, and it could even cause low blood pressure because it drops the blood pressure in 7% of the people taking it. You know that effect, and that is being clinically proven, and they have a problem processing that drugs. Now imagine somebody taking some heroin or some cocaine or some morphine or any type of drug that is not, there's no FDA over it, there's no recall if the batch is bad, and they're taking that drug and they don't know the side effect. There's like the person selling them a bag of heroin or a bag of whatever, and the person say, hey, these are the side effects, you should read them and buy beware. No, they're just selling the drugs, and whatever the side effects going to be, whatever weird tick, whatever diseases that you person going to come down with, the person does not know. And somebody will say, but Lord, they don't care either, which is true. But again, people taking legal drugs don't care. I think half the people taking, more than half the people taking even these high blood pressure drugs, they don't care. They're just taking it. They go, have a problem, they go to the doctor. Doctor says, take this, they take it. And they don't think about it. And so now we're having these things causing cancer, or the side effect of one of the chemicals that is found that it says a contaminant, but it's been contaminated drugs for 4 years. Did the manufacturer know that this chemical was being used? Do they care? Is it all about just the money? And again, remember, the biggest drug taking country so far from my research in the world is America. And now China is producing so much of the drugs for America. And China is just is about, at any rate, pollute the environment, pollute the people, pollute everything, so that they can become an industrial giant. So a lot of these recalls are going on, and if you go online, you'll see the recalls, and they're happening from July. They've been going on. It's my research, and it's worldwide. So that to me is a big issue with drugs. It is this idea here that if the legal drugs with all their side effects are so much, what do you do with the illegal drugs? And this is why I would say, don't be rushing in now and following people saying, well, you can rub this oil on your back and all of a sudden your spinal column is going to start working better, or it's going to calm it down. And they don't know no side effects because the drug is not being clinically tested, but they're saying it's a miracle drug. And then later on, now this person comes down with a host of other problem, and now they need other drugs to fix it. And there's a point where you say, just stop with the drug stuff and go take care of yourself. Go change your diet and go start exercising, and get off the meat-based diet and get on a plant-based diet, and start taking your health serious and start messing about with all this drug business. But again, most people want to mess about because they want to continue a certain lifestyle and want to have a certain diet, and they want to be lazy about their body, and then run out and go slap some drug on, and the drug comes with side effects, and the side effects takes a while, if ever, to get out of the body. You're never going to take a drug and have an option naturally and not regret it. If you have natural option, exercise that, and God will bless you. And so here, that continue. Don't be taking no stuff with, as I say, chemicals, fuel stabilizers, and not expect. Now, why this thing is so problematic is because the drug gives some effect. If I'm having a headache and I go and somebody say, here's this drug, it's been clinically proven, FDA approved, and here's the side effect, it causes headache, but I take it and it relieve my headache. I'm just glad that the headache is gone. That's all it is. And even though later on it's going to cause me a headache, that now I'm going to need a more potent drug. The temporary relief is what is good. And so the drug gives me temporary relief. So I don't want to mess about with no exercise and juicing and eating high raw and getting off of all the meat. I want to continue my lifestyle. I want to continue eating my burgers. So I take the drugs. So the problem with drugs is this deceptive nature. It deceives you into thinking that you have a solution. But that solution is a temporary solution, and later on, it's going to come with more war in the system. Things are going to change because drugs doesn't cure disease. It changes form and location. So my headache go to the bottom of my foot, and now I'm walking and my foot is hurting me. And I can't understand why. Because the drug just changed the form and location of the disease. So I read to you in Genesis 3 verse 6 and 7. We have a similar situation here with Adam and Eve, primarily with Eve. So the serpent told Eve that you can eat of the tree that God forbid. So Eve eat, but the tree that God forbid is fascinating to me because it's like drugs. It's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The tree will give you some good things, but it will poison you. And the devil told Eve, yeah, do it. It's going to be good. You're going to be able to have your eyes open, and you're going to be able to see. And it's the same thing we look at drugs. All drug is saying here, take this drug. It will relieve your problem. You're feeling depressed? Take this drug. It'll make you high. Take this cocaine. But the cocaine is going to poison you. You're feeling too anxious? Take this THC. Take this CBD oil, and it'll make you relax, and you won't be anxious anymore. But I'm going to poison you. That's the devil speaking. The devil is saying, come, let me poison you, but you'll feel good. And so, yes, it's that deceptive nature. And God told Eve, and God told Adam, it'll poison you, and you get the knowledge. But it's the knowledge of good, and it's knowledge of evil. But the devil, when he sold it to Eve, he just told her about the good, but he didn't tell her about the evil. He said, forget the evil. Just come take this poison. Notice in Genesis 3, verse 6 and 7. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also to her husband with her, and he did eat. This is like drugs. Can't beat this, man. This is the description of drugs to me. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. This is this fascinating change that came over them. Their eyes open. They could see what they couldn't see before. But they did eat, because it was desired to make one wise. You want to trip. You want to go on a trip. You want to go on a high. You want to go on a hallucination. You want to go on a mind-altering experience. Take this poison. It's going to poison you. But guess what happened? You're going to have a better experience. And all drugs come with that. All drugs come with, take this poison. It will cure whatever you wanted to cure, but you're going to be poisoned. And here the list, at least with the FDA, the good thing about the FDA, which is respectable, is they list the poison. They tell you, this is what's going to happen with this poison. They list at least the side effect. It's going to cause you this disease, that disease. And many times, they will list with certain drugs, it can cause death. You will die. And a person like, give me that. Because it temporarily solves my problem, but it kills me then. And that's what drugs is. So if the proven drugs, FDA approved, known side effects, often less, death and debility, What about the unproven drugs? The one that the FDA did not approve. It doesn't tell you what chemicals were used in the manufacturing process. There will never be any recall. What happened? Well, we see what happened. We see how many times you hear about how many people die of overdose or being rushed to the hospital because the drug they're taking has something in it that is making them sick immediately they take it, or killing them, or they're taking it and they overdose on it because the drug is telling them take more, and say the drug seller just tell them no, you don't want to take no more than 25 mgs of this drugs, and the person take it and say I like what 25 mgs does to me, I want to take 50. But the drug is a depressant. It's going to slow the heart rate down. And you just shut it down and it kill the person. And that's a listed side effect. It will kill you. And that's what legal drugs do. And that's what illegal drugs do. But we don't know. So think about all this K2 and all these various different potpourri drugs that are coming over from China that are not even scheduled. Nobody knows what they are, what they'll do to the body, what are the side effects, who knows. And the person is taking all these drugs, but with all these drugs, it's laced with other chemicals. I've heard they say sometimes up to 70 chemicals. Just imagine, that's a whirlwind in the body. But with that whirlwind, it's a whirlwind of poisoning. So the person don't know, is this drug going to damage my nerves? Is it going to damage my heart, my brain, obviously, my liver, my kidney, my bowels, my circulatory? You don't know what's going to happen. All you know is you're running an experiment and all the drug is telling you, take me because I'm going to make you feel better, but I'm going to poison you. And so many people are being poisoned. And this is the reality of life. In Isaiah chapter 5 verse 11 through 23, Isaiah chapter 5 verse 11 through 23 says, woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue until night, till wine inflame them. Imagine this was the original light stuff. This is stuff that back then. Imagine what we have now. We have brilliant minds. People who are wizard can come up with the most weird stuff that can make you have feelings where, like I remember reading about somebody that they had a trip, and one moment they're sitting on the lap of Jesus. They're sitting with Jesus and they're having a beautiful experience. Next moment they say they're vomiting out demons. And I'm like, wow. And somebody say, you can sit on Jesus' lap. Just take this poison. And the person like, I'll take it. But after they have that trip, the person said, there's no known what it's going to do in your body later on. Because as you see with NDMA, it's in the system. And it ain't going nowhere. And it's poisoning the system. Even after causing damage to the liver. Because the liver have to process that dangerous chemical. Imagine the liver is trying to deal with that chemical. And it's just wreaking havoc in the liver. Causing all kind of weird chemical reaction. And poisoning it and rotting it out. And the person is doing that. But the person like, I feel so good. And that's the temptation there. It feels good, but it's killing me. It's a powerful temptation. It says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that mighty to drink wine and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Woe. Let's think about that. Person put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Person look at a poison and said, this poison here, ethanol. I can use it to drive a car. I can use it to start a fire, and I can pour it on my throat. And it can inflame me. Like I'm combustible. I burn my liver, burn my stomach, burn my everything, cause cancer. But I feel good. And what do I mean I feel good? I'm high as a kite. I'm being poisoned. I don't know what the poisoning is. I don't know what is being poisoned, but I know I feel good. And that's the call of drugs, and that's the honest call of drugs. You don't know. Somebody invented drugs and they realized one of the side effects is that it make a person have energy. But the drug itself is dangerous chemical. It's a toxic chemical. And the doctor said, you can take this toxic chemical at 20 mgs. But at 60 mgs, it will kill you. But you take it 20 mgs, it won't kill you. He said, doctors, but what will it do to me long term? Oh, it's going to cause you cancer, baby. You're going to die. But it won't kill you right now. You'll get some relief for your diseases. So what if I try some herbs? Oh, that's quackery. That's some fanaticism. How dare you talk about something natural? You're going to take a herb. You're going to drink some juice. You're going to exercise for your disease. No, take this poison here. It'll solve your problem right here, right now. Just take this drugs. It'll poison you, but it won't poison you today. You'll die a few years later from some weird disease that we don't know of yet because we haven't done all the clinical research. And if that's the FDA approved stuff, imagine the stuff that is not FDA approved. Now, you don't know what chemicals those guys down there in Colombia, Mexico, or over there in Ohio, what they're mixing up. And they're putting it out on the market. And somebody's going to inject it into their veins so it doesn't go through even the digestive process for the body to try to calm the madness down. It goes just shit right into your brains, right into your bloodstream, into your brain. And many people, you're talking to them and they're not here. They're on another planet, in another universe, part of the celestial beings. They're floating up there. And that's the reality. Proverbs 23 verse 29 onwards says that who hath woes, who hath sorrows, who hath contentions, who hath babbling, who hath wound without cause, who had redness of eyes. And the text goes on to say wine, but you normally answer that question, who had redness of eyes, is those who smoke marijuana. Who have wounds without cause is those who take valsartan, is those who take all these dangerous chemicals and poison their system, and now they're going to have wounds, and we don't know the cause of the wounds because those wounds have never been clinically tested and proven. We don't know yet. We just approved before we found out. But now as the masses take it, we're having people coming down with some diseases that you can go online and you look at it officially. There's so many diseases out there that it's not classified. We don't know what's going on because we poison ourselves. And as I say, you go to somebody, you say, water is good. How about try some water? They're like, oh, you're a fanatic. You're crazy. This thing here is approved by people in white coats. And we know the side effects. And I'm like, have you ever, I noticed, I've talked to so many people and I realized they never stopped to read the side effect of the drug they're taking. It is fascinating. They never, even though it's advertised online and it goes through real fast, it will cause you death, destruction, and famine and pestilence. They never read it. So they don't know what's on the side effects. And when you finally get around to read it, it's like a silence. And I said, that's the proven. And they're telling you that that's less than 3% of the people coming down with it. But you bring me somebody that takes that drugs and ask them, and you're going to find out that most people who take the drugs that I've ever met tell me that they have any side effects. But yet they'll tell you online, oh, very few people, very few. But remember, Adam ate and Eve ate, and both of them had 100% side effect. Both of them had the side effect. The results are immediate. But their eyes were open, and they were able to receive good and evil. But what is the evil they're receiving? But somebody say, oh, but the good is I get my blood pressure under control. Is that so? Is that really so? Is that the good? But what is the evil? Well, let's not talk about that. And if that is the known drugs, what is going on in the world with all these drugs being manufactured without any type of supervision? Being manufactured in the hills somewhere under a tree. You go online, go watch some of the drugs being produced. I'm fascinated. by some of how they produce some of these drugs. Just get a big, barrel and just start cooking that stuff and start adding chemicals and straining and washing and whatever, and poof, they come up as a nice white powder. And you like, not tested, and they package it in bricks and they ship it off for people to snort up their nose. And you don't know what that drug is going to do. But it is making you high as a kite. So the Bible asks, who has redness of eyes? They said, they that tarry long at the wine, they that go seek mixed wine. Because now people can do what they call a speedball. They take something that's a hopper and they take something that's a downer. And that creates a whirlwind in the body. Because one drug is trying to get the person to sedate the person, and the other drug is trying to get the person to get excited. And the person like, boom, I'm going to hit my body with this thing. Nothing has changed. Remember, this is what a speedball is what the Bible just described. Those that go seek mixed wine. So a person go now and take two drugs, and these two drugs, it's going to give that hurricane in the body. But those two drugs giving that hurricane in the body, that's just the surface level problem that could kill the person. The guy is a rapper. All of a sudden I forget his name, but anyway, there's a rapper that I never knew, but anyway, he died. And they came up with his toxicology report last week, and he had cocaine, alcohol, and I think marijuana or something. So he has something to get him high, to get him low, to get him high. He has everything going on inside his body. Oh, he has opiate, like the fentanyl I think he had. So he had heroin, cocaine, and alcohol. That was what it is. So something to make him want to fall asleep, and then something to get him high, and then something to get him low again. Just pure, but that's not the only problem. The problem, these things are manufactured without FDA approval. So the other chemicals and side effect chemicals that are there to create that drug and to extract that thing out of the, say the cocaine, you don't know what they used and what's going to be the result. So it's the additional poisoning that is not the surface level poisoning that is known by the drug, but it's the chemical, the chemicals that are there. And same thing would be now with the regular FDA drug. If they have in all these chemical contamination, imagine the stuff that is not FDA approved. Blows the mind. And so here, let's see if I can get through this. Here it says, look not thou upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth its color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright. At the last it biteth like a serpent and stingeth like an adder. It's going to poison you. It's going to kill you. Somebody said, but I'm taking this drug for so many years and I've been alive. Yeah, you're half dead. Just admit it. You're being poisoned on a daily basis with small doses of poison. Start exercising. Start taking some natural remedies. Start doing something for your health. Start pushing away from the table halfway through the meal. You have just had a meal for one person anyhow. And you'll be good. Thine eyes shall behold strange women, and thine heart shall utter perverse things. Yea, thou shalt be as he that light down in the midst of the sea, and are as he that light upon the top of the mast. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I shall seek it yet again. And that's the experience of a person on drugs. Somebody say, oh no, I'm not on drugs. What do you mean on drugs? Oh, I'm not on drugs. I don't take crack and cocaine. Really? So what is the drugs you're taking? Oh no, that's not drugs. That's for my health. Well, that's the point. You're addicted. You can't get off it because you can't break whatever habit that's killing you. So you need to break the habit. And you never get off drugs. You make the doctor get you off drugs. He put you on it, he gets you off it. How you get off drugs? You start taking care of your health. And as you go do your tests, whether it be a blood pressure test or whatever, the doctor start cutting back the drugs. And he wean you off the drugs just like a regular drug addict until he can say you're off. When he can say, I can validate that you're off, you're off. That's how you get off drugs. Make the person that put you on the drugs get you off. But how you get off? By start taking care of yourself. And you take care of yourself, God will bless you. Find some natural remedies. Start loving a treadmill on a bicycle near your friends. And God will bless you. I'm telling you, it will work. But don't be sitting there on drugs and saying, oh, look at the druggies. And not looking in the mirror and say, I'm a druggie. I need to do something about this because these drugs is poisoning me. It's killing me. I don't need to die like this. I need to die healthy. I need to look good in my casket. Let's pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, we thank thee again for the blessings of your word. Pray, Lord, that you may give us the strength and that we might submit to your way and your will and take care of ourselves naturally and stay away from these poisons. Be with us, we pray, for Christ's sake. Amen. Thanks for being with me here on Revive Form Radio. Looking forward to talking to you again tomorrow morning where we should do current events. Until then, I pray that you continue to walk with the King.